up everyone? Good morning. I am Julia F. Macabanig, a BE2 student, and today I will discuss about the conventional learning resources and the distance learning. But first, what is conventional learning what is conventional learning resources? So it is a material used as a teaching aid for today's generation. So first, let us define conventional resources.
The traditional teaching aids or instructional materials, animate and inanimate objects that a teacher may use in the teaching and learning situation to achieve the desired learning outcomes.
Conventional resources is the materials used in teaching aids before entering the digital learning. So we can see conventional learning is the basic, or it is the method used or the materials used before the digital learning. So as we can see, digital learning has a to visual conventional visual learning materials and conventional printed learning materials. So if we say visual materials, it is materials that can be seen by our two eyes used in teaching aids. So example of this is the realia, a three-dimensional, and the charts, the graphs, the other things that or other materials that can be used in teaching that we can see in visually, or we can see it in our two eyes. So next, let us move on to printed materials. So if we can see printed materials, so it is used, or it is being printed, and like the books, the brochures, or other printed materials used as teaching aids. So this is, or we can call this conventional learning resources because it is it is used by common and not on digital, or and without digital. So it is important to have this conventional learning materials because for today's generation, it is important that conventional learning materials is ready for teaching because it is much important than digital learning resources, because conventional learning resources requires a basic, or the needs, or it requires the ability of the students who can route or without reliable to digital learning, because conventional learning materials includes the ability or the skill of the students to enhance and to become a collaborative, or to become and to explore their mind because of the teaching methods, which is the use of the abilities of the hands, or use of the abilities of every student. So it is important to have these conventional learning materials. Let us now move on to distance learning. So, what comes in your mind when you hear the word distance? So, it is a kind of learning that is a student learn in the house, or a student learn in a specific place without collaborating to other students, or to their teachers, or to their instructors. So, as we have today, it is an example of distance learning because of this pandemic. So, distance learning has two types. So it may be asynchronous or asynchronous learning. So, but first, what is synchronous learning? Synchronous learning is the learning which is a student is within a group, or it is a kind of learning within the students and the teachers are learning in the same area. So, synchronous learning examples are the webinars and the face-to-face classes and having a group presentation or having a learning inside the classroom. So synchronous learning refers to a learning that is what we've done before without this pandemic. So it is now or it is difficult for us to have a synchronous learning today because of this pandemic, and I hope soon it will be okay. And I am of synchronous learning because we can share our ideas and knowledge to our teachers and also to our schoolmates and classmates. Or the second type of learning of distance learning is asynchronous learning, wherein students learn in their own way. So they have the ability to ask their questions, do their tasks with the time they needed, or do their tasks, or they can change the time where they want to learn. And it also have the flexibility of having the asynchronous learning because you can learn anywhere, anytime, and anything or everything you want. So asynchronous learning is much important, or what we've done today than synchronous learning, because asynchronous learning requires non-budget because you can stay at home and you can only learn in a way that you are be alone in the house, or you have everything. You can see the instructors and you can play a video that can motivate you and that can help you learn more about the topic. So now let us now proceed to the three things to consider before entering asynchronous learning. So first is it is important to have a good feedback or the accurate feedback for the students. So it is important that we could manage well and how we approach to the students on our insights about their activities or their their group works or how they work on our assigned topics. So feedback is the most important thing or the most important part because a feedback covers the whole topic. So it is important to have a good feedback because if we do not get feedback or we do not say a good feedback, it can have a chance that our students must not be interested again, or how our students must not be being or our students must not move to the other place. It is important to have a good feedback to students to be to help them learn and to be more adjustable or to be more flexible on the assigned topic. How will you make learning accessible? So it is important that one of us as a teacher, we used to have a language that can make the students being engaged or they will enjoy our topic. So if we find the students are bored or the students are not having lack of attention to us, we could switch to other topics that we can feel them happy or how we can feel them satisfied of our teaching. So it has it is important to have a strategy or the ability to change and the ability to move. So as it is important to if we are sad or we are having a not satisfied of that lesson, so we can move to other lesson. So it's important. So example is when we buy food in the market. So we have a lot of fruit in the market. So we have a lot of fruit, vegetables. So they are many vegetables are the same. So we are moving. So we are picking. So if a string beans and a string beans here, so we could choose or we could choose where we want. So it is important if we can see it is fresh or the other is so we can find this as a option. So it is important to switch to have a good to be good or to change because it is the best for us. Last is how will you promote higher order thinking? So higher order thinking. So as as teachers, we should give activities to our students as an application or as a generalization on what they learn on our topic, especially to all of us today. We could not test the thinking of the students if we did not give them work, activities, projects, or everything because as we as we are studying or as the teachers say or as the teacher discuss, the way of the students is to learn. But as of now, because of the multimedia or the media literacy, not all students can cope up the discussions of the teachers very fastly. Or not all students can learn or not all students can give their idea on the discussion of the teachers because it is hard for us that the education is not a face to face. So so learning in a distance learning is very hard because we can we cannot everyone has not the ability to focus because of the surroundings. So unlike in the school, so we are the we are the we are the one or the classmates and the teachers are on the school. So unlike the in the house, so many people or many others that can harm you while studying. So now, what can you prefer? A distance learning? It is important to have asynchronous learning or asynchronous learning. So to summarize it up, asynchronous learning requires the attendance at the meeting, and asynchronous learning is the asynchronous learning is the ability of the students to change their way of schooling or they must learn in their own way. So